This is the Players Roundtable presented by Vision Consulting. I'm joined by Grace, Tameka and Kate. Today we're going to be discussing your careers so far and your ambitions for the future. To start things off, Tameka, was there a moment during your career when you thought I'd made it?
Throughout my career, it's always been sort of a battle. You might make your first World Cup, but then you're always on to the next thing. So it's always sort of pushing yourself further and how can you be that sort of one step better. And so for me, I feel like I've been building over my whole career rather than just sort of hitting my peak early or anything like that. So I think it's an ongoing thing.
Kate, what would you say is your hardest moment so far?
Oh, I think actually when you move from club to club, when you come towards the end of a contract, there's not a lot of stability in women's football, and sometimes your contract could be kind of running down to 1 month and you don't really know what's happening next, and then you've obviously got that transition of moving to a new club, things like that.
What would you say has been maybe your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement? I mean, probably just signing my first professional contract, becoming like a professional footballer. We have a lot of meetings in the morning about sort of what we're grateful for and, you know, why we do what we do, and it's sort of, we forget how lucky we are sometimes, and for me that's like the greatest thing about my life is that I get to enjoy my job and enjoy what I do every day.
Did you always want to be a professional footballer?
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite old now, so when I was younger it wasn't even possible. It was always my hobby. I always played football on the street with my neighbours, with my friends from school. It wasn't really until I was in my early 20s where I thought, I want to be a footballer and I want to make this happen. It was a dream, but it wasn't a realistic one. So I'm very lucky that we've kind of stepped forward in women's football and been able to do that.
I kind of just grew up with the love of football and playing with the boys, and then sort of as I progressed through my youths in representing Australia, I was lucky enough that the players that came before me were putting those things in motion to sort of create a league in Australia and then build on that to become semi-professional and professional. So I think I was at that lucky stage where things were being put in place and there was sort of paths being created.
So my opportunities are obviously a lot bigger than what theirs was, and even now when we have sort of 17, 18-year-old players in the team, it's sort of like their opportunities even bigger than ours, because like from their age now they can get a professional contract and stuff. So everything's moving on to what it should be.
I think that leads nicely on to how maybe the game has changed since you started playing, so maybe okay.
Start with the old, and we'll work our way younger again. Yeah, I mean it's changed massively. It's certainly on TV. It's visible a lot more. When I was younger, I'd potentially see maybe the FA Cup final and one international game, whereas now every week you can watch the games on a live stream. It's probably harder to make it for players because now there is a bigger volume of children playing, but that's fantastic because the whole point of playing football is that you enjoy it and participation levels and what it does for your health, your mental health. It's really good to see the game growing, and hopefully it can continue to grow on that pathway.
From what it was before to what it is now, and especially in Australia, it's really grown in participation and then also being able to affect other things that are off the field as well, like pay quality and that sort of thing now. Like we have that in Australia, we're on equal pay with the men, and I think that has then crossed over into other industries. So I've seen a lot more growth off the field than I have on the field, and then to come back on the field with the participation again, it's competitiveness, and you're looking at a World Cup now with 32 teams, so yeah, the growth has been insane, I guess.
I mean, I'm sure it's different again, but when I was growing up, sort of, if people were to ask me women's footballers, the only one I could really name was Kelly Smith at the time, and you know, everyone knows who Kelly Smith is, whereas now, like kids growing up, they know a lot of players, there's a lot of big names out there. Overall acknowledgement of the game, there's a lot more, obviously, eyes on it, so people know who different people are, people have role models to aspire to, which I think obviously is really good for the younger generation coming through. What
advice would you give to young girls who are wanting to play football?
My almost decision why I decided to play, like why wouldn't you? Like that's my advice, sort of if it's something you're passionate about, it's something you enjoy, it's something you're good at, something you like doing, like why wouldn't you try, why wouldn't you give it everything you can? And you know, there's obviously going to be bumps in the road, there's going to be injuries or whatever, loads of different things that could happen, but if it's something you want to do, sort of this is the best time ever to do it, so give it everything you can and see where it takes you, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but you tried, so that's kind of what I would say.
And what would you say When it comes to your training, what would you say is kind of the toughest part of that?
Yeah, I think probably the mental side is definitely a hard part, especially if you're not playing, if you're not getting picked in the team, if you're a little bit low on confidence. Not everything's going to go right all the time and you're not always going to do well. And I think it's really important to just kind of have people that are close to you that you can maybe speak to. But again, not putting too much pressure on yourself. You know, you need to control the things that you can control. But yeah, there's challenges, but it's also a lot of fun and you get a lot of rewards with it as well.
Do you guys have some team preparation before your games? Do you get together? What do you do to bond, to make that bond the best and work together the best?
Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of stuff, like team building stuff off the pitch. But I think when it comes down to it, the work that you do together on the field really does sort of help you connect with each other, and whether that's doing extra runs in pre-season or just being really competitive at training, I think day in, day out, turning up together and working hard together really does sort of build connections within the team. And then at the end of the day, when you are successful, you do really sort of appreciate the people around you.
Kate, having seen former teammates and opponents that have broken through the media and now are pundits across male and female sport, does that give you ambition and support to go and do that yourself in the future?
Yeah, I think it definitely opens the doors. There's so many more options now for women going into something after football. But staying within football, you know, we build up a lot of knowledge from being within the game, not just on the women's side. You know, if you do have an invested interest in men's football, it's certainly something now that's opening doors for us. So it's really exciting, and whether I'm someone that can kind of get my foot in the door with that, or whether it's other people, it's just really good to see women being part of that and knowing that that could be an option for them after they've finished playing.
Yeah, what would you say are the key qualities maybe that you've picked up from doing competitive sport that will help you, you know, or have helped you?
I think communication, leadership. You know, you all have to be leaders. You don't all have to be vocal leaders, but you'll have to take ownership as well. Patience, learning how to work in a team. I think there's so many qualities you get from being in a sports environment, and some that you probably don't even realise you're doing until you want to go into another line of work, and then you actually think, oh, I've got a lot of skills that are transferable and relatable to that job as well.
I think because every day's different as well.
Yeah.
You know, we have no idea what we're going to do when we step on the training pitch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could not touch a ball for the whole session, or we could be nothing but the ball. I think every day is different, and whether that's with the people, what we're doing with the coaches, the setup of the day, and I think that's just a skill in itself, just adapting to sort of every single day, whether that's in a game, in training, anything, because like it's so different each week, each day, what we do, nothing's the same, nothing's repetitive really, so it's just kind of learning to just go with the flow and see where it takes you, and adapting as you go along.
Do you ever get inspiration from other women in different sports?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of Aussie athletes out there like Ash Barty. She's an amazing tennis player. She's also an amazing cricket player. She's a dual international for us, and I think against all odds she's come out and like won major tournaments again and again. I think she's really inspired a lot of Australians, and then there's just people out there pushing the boundaries all the time, and females especially. So I think if you look, there are a lot of people out there that can inspire you.
As sports people, we're naturally invested in other sports as well. And, you know, when we see Emma Raducanu and people like that doing wicked stuff, you know, again, you just kind of support them. And even people who aren't from your country, just women, Serena Williams, I think Serena Williams, isn't she invested in one of the NWSL clubs or something?
Yeah,
That kind of stuff is really cool. We support each other in that regard, as anyone would really in your kind of the industry that we're in, and we enjoy watching them, and hopefully they enjoy watching us as well.
This has been the Players Roundtable presented by Vision Consulting. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon.